Special devotee, His Grace Kripamaya Prabhu. Kripamaya Prabhu was initiated by, he accepted Srila Prabhupada as his teacher in New Vrindavan in 1973. So that was exactly 50 years ago. Kripamaya Prabhu initially met devotees in Buffalo, New York. Rupanuga Prabhu was running a center. He was there for a number of years. Then he was in Columbus for 3 years at the 13th Street Center. He was part of the, we used to have a restaurant on High Street called Simply Wonderful. So there's that whole history of ISKCON way back, and Prabhu was part of that. He lives in New Vrindavan, with his wife Krishna Bhava, who's also a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. They raised two wonderful children, Krishna Priya and Krishna Balaram. When I first came to this temple, Krishna Balaram was here. He was going to Ohio State doing his undergraduate here. He's a neurologist. And Prabhu is such a humble, simple Vaishnava. I've known him for the last 25 years. And very simple, very humble. He's always there, Mangalarti at New Vrindavan Temple. And he has great music skills, plays his guitar. So, just a lot of respect and a lot of appreciation and love for his service to Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. And he's been in New Vrindavan like steady all throughout. Him and his family, they've been part of New Vrindavan. So very, very happy, Prabhu, that you could come here today. And today he'll wax eloquent on Lord Ramachandra until 8:10. And then we will have stand-up kirtan, arti, Shinga prayers. There is also a dance, right? There's also a dance scheduled right after the lecture, Shradha? Right, okay. So thank you all. I hope you're all comfortable. So thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
So I'm just so happy to be again with the Columbus family. Everybody needs a family. And this spiritual family here in Columbus, it's been 20 years since I've been here. So I'm very happy to have an opportunity to be with devotees like yourselves again after such a long time. So thank you again. So this evening, as you all know, we are celebrating the auspicious appearance of Lord Sri Ramachandra. So I thought to invoke auspiciousness on this occasion. I would begin with a reading from the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, text 37, where Srila Prabhupada mentions Lord Ramachandra. This is the verse where Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, Kama esha krodha esha rajaguna samudava mahashamo mahapatma vidyanam ihavarina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material modes of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, he says, wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. And these modes of passion, read that again. Wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. These modes exhibit themselves as wrath and other corollaries. It is therefore the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into the mode of ignorance, if it is elevated to the mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. So then Srila Prabhupada later on in the purport here, he talks about Lord Ramachandra, because Hanuman is a great devotee, as we all know, of Lord Ramachandra, and he used his wrath in the service of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada explains here. He says, this inquiry is the beginning of Vedanta Sutra, where it is said, Tato Brahma Jignasa, one should inquire into the Supreme And the Supreme is defined in Srimad Bhagavatam as Janmadya Sayaton Vyad Itara Tush, or the origin of everything is the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the origin of lust is also in the Supreme. If therefore lust is transformed into love for the Supreme, or transformed into Krishna consciousness, or in other words, desiring everything for Krishna, then both lust and wrath can be spiritualized. Isn't that good news? We look into our hearts sometimes, we see anger, we see, I want this, I want that. And the good news is we don't have to cut it out. We actually can just spiritualize it by the process of Krishna consciousness. So Hanuman, the great servitor of Lord Ram, exhibited his wrath by burning the golden city of Ravana. But by doing so, he became the greatest devotee of the Lord. Here also in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord induces Arjuna to engage his wrath upon his enemies for the satisfaction of the Lord. Therefore, lust and wrath, when they are employed in Krishna consciousness, this is the kicker. I'll read this again. Therefore, lust and wrath, when they are employed in Krishna consciousness, become our friends instead of our enemies. Isn't that beautiful? There's something which, to me, when I read that, I've heard it before, but just to meditate on it, how we look and sometimes we feel so, it's easy to become discouraged in our spiritual life because we look sometimes into our hearts and we see so many negative qualities. But the beauty of Krishna consciousness is that we are learning how to transform those, spiritualize those qualities. So I thought I'd like to begin today with a little poem about how Hanuman used his wrath in the service of the Lord. And it ends up as a song. So we hope all of you will enjoy this. Long, long ago, King Ravana kidnapped Ram's wife Sita. He dragged her by the hair to his airplane as Sita cried for help, calling out Ram's name. Ram, 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 Ram. Everyone. Ram, 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 Ram. Hoping to fulfill his lusty desires, Ravan flew to Lanka, his island empire. When Sita refused to be his mistress, Ravan imprisoned the chaste princess, who cried, Ram, 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 Ram. Ram, 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 yes. I mean, just imagine if someone right now, any of the Madhajis here can imagine, this would be a horrible thought, but someone came in right now and just grabbed you by the hair and dragged you out into the temple and threw you into a car and drove down the street. What would you be doing? Ram, 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 Ram. Yes, exactly. We'd be crying out. And so oftentimes this is like a way that we can help us absorb our mind in Krishna's pastimes, is we think of the different emotions that we feel throughout the day. Just like today, I had to buy some silicone I cracked the mirror in my brake light. Okay, so I was at Lowe's before coming here. So the salesman says, like, go down aisle 2 and you'll see it's on your left. And I went down aisle 2, I couldn't find it. And I was feeling so much anxiety. Where is the silicone? It's not here. And I think, wait a minute. How did Ram feel when he couldn't find Sita? You know? Like we all go through a range of emotions every day, don't we? You know, sometimes happy, sometimes sad. So if we're able to connect those emotions to Krishna's pastimes, and when we hear the pastimes, we hear the leads, we try to feel, you know, what these sublime personalities are going for. But their emotions are not material, but we get a sense of the intensity by comparison to our own emotional state. So Ram heard Sita's cry within his heart. Tears from his eyes sparkled in the dark when he found an army of monkey soldiers who collected for Ram billions of boulders to build a bridge across the sea so Ram could set Sita free. Let's help set Sita free! Let's help set Sita free!
Let's help Sita.
Yes, yes. We can do it. We can do it. This is how the monkeys are thinking, right? By assisting Ram, we can help Ram set Sita free. Can you imagine the enthusiasm? Millions of monkeys. But before throwing rocks into the ocean, when the monkey army, with devotion, carved Ram's name on each rock mystically, the rocks floated like fluffy cotton candy. Over the water, when the deed was done, millions of monkeys with Ram and Lakshman crossed over the bridge until the Lankan shores felt the thunder of their feet as they loudly roared, Sitaram Jaya Sitaram! Sitaram Jaya Sitaram! Sitaram Jaya Sitaram! Sitaram Jaya Sitaram! And Ram said, wait! He said, Ram sent this message to Ravana. If you return my wife Sita, we can live in peace forevermore. But Ravana replied, what did Ravana say? No, I want more. Right? During the battle, now, so this is where it becomes a song, okay? So let me back up here. Ram sent this message to Ravana. If you return my wife Sita, we can live in peace forevermore. But Ravana replied, no, I want war. During the battle, Ram's brother Lakshman was wounded by the son of Ravana. And as Lakshmana lay in pain, the monkey chief Hanuman sang Ram's name. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Then the king of the bears told, there's a healing herb that can save Lakshman in the Himalayas called Sanjeevani, growing beneath the banyan trees. So Hanuman jumped from Sri Lanka to the mountains of the Himalayas. And when he landed on the ground, Hanuman sang as he hooked around. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 But he could not find the healing herbs, so Hanuman was so disturbed. He picked up a mountain with his hand, as if it were a grain of sand, and carried it back to the battlefield. When he smelled the herbs, Lakshman was healed. Someone smell the herbs. Then he jumped to his feet as Hanuman.
Yeah.
No problem. This is exactly what happened during the battle of Lanka, right? All these unexpected things were happening. No one expected that Indrajit was going to send these blood-sucking arrows that would strike down Lakshman. No one expected. But the devotees, they deal with it, right? Because they're connected to Krishna. They know Krishna is in everyone's heart. And Krishna, they're connected to Krishna in their hearts. So let's see. So, but he could not find the healing herbs. So Hanuman was so disturbed. He picked up a mountain with his hand as if it were a grain of sand and carried it back to the battlefield. Oh, we already did that part, right? Okay, yeah. We took a big breath, right? Okay. Then he jumped to his feet as Hanuman sang the names of Lord Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Ram had killed Ravana, who had tortured his wife Sita. Then Ram said to Hanuman, please go find. Ram had to kill Ravana, who had tortured his wife, beloved wife Sita. Then Ram said, Hanuman, please go find my wife Sita, who is now confined beneath the branches of the Ashok trees. When he found Sita, Hanuman ecstatically brought Sita back to Lord Ram while dancing and singing his favorite song. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram. There's an interesting story. Originally, this song was just 3 verses. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute, where's Sita in all of this? It was just about Hanuman and Lakshman and herbs. It reminded me of a story. When I joined the movement in 1971, there was a Gujarati gentleman named Bharat Gajar. He was a DuPont engineer, and he was a student of my mother. My mother was an English teacher at the University of Delaware, and my mother told me he taught yoga. So I asked him, I called him one time, can you teach me yoga? And he said, of course. I said, well, how much? He said, $30. Well, back then, for a 16-year-old boy, $30 was a lot of money. So I said, is there any place that teaches yoga for free? And he said, well, it just so happens I have an apartment building, and I'm letting the Hare Krishnas have their temple there. He says, really? Hare Krishnas? He says, yeah. So he gave me directions to the temple, and I went there, and the rest is history. But he told me an interesting story, which relates to this, why this song includes Sita. There's one time he actually met Srila Prabhupada in 1966 on 2nd Avenue. And when he went there, Srila Prabhupada was lecturing, giving Bhagavad Gita discourse. So Mr. Gajar wanted to please Srila Prabhupada. So he saw this devotee going in to hear Srila Prabhupada's lecture. He said, let me give him a little present. So he gave the devotee this little omelet, right? Necklace, right? Omelet. Amulet, right? No, not omelet. And so the devotee is sitting there in front of Srila Prabhupada with this Om necklace. And he said, in the middle of the lecture, Srila Prabhupada stopped and said, where did you get that? The devotee said, some Indian man gave it to me, Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, that's Mayavadi, take it off. So the devotee took it off. And remember that in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada was very strict about trying to get devotees to be very focused, right? So then later on, the next week or next month when he came back, Mr. Gajar brought a Krishna amulet, a Krishna necklace. And he was thinking now, he understood Srila Prabhupada is a Vaishnava, so I must give a Krishna necklace. So he gave it. So same thing happened. Another devotee went in, he gave him a Krishna necklace, and the devotee is sitting there in front of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada again stops in the middle of his lecture. He says, where did you get that? And this Indian gentleman gave it to me, Srila Prabhupada. Where is Radharani? That's Mayavadi. Take it off. So now it's really thinking about this song, where is Sita? Right? How can we glorify Ram without Sita? Right? Ram does not like to be glorified without Sita. And there's a beautiful story when we read the Ramayana, because I'm not an expert, so I can't go into all the details, but there are some very beautiful stories about Ram and Sita in the Ramayana. And one of the most beautiful ones I remember, relates to this song, is that when Hanuman went to see Sita. He actually, after Ram killed Ravana, Ram said, "Please go tell Sita I have killed Ram and that I have come here to relieve all of her anxiety." So then Hanuman goes and he asks Sita, um, he delivers the message, and then he says, "Now that I'm here, can I take revenge on these wicked Rakshashis who've been torturing you for these months on end?" And Sita said, "What has happened to me is due to my past misdeeds, taking a humble position." And when I read that, it reminded me of something that Maharaj Kritu said in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, how devotees are always able to remain equiposed, even in the most disturbing situations. He said that when Maharaj Kritu was explaining that when a devotee undergoes suffering, or when he's overgoing elation, happiness, he's thinking two things. When he's experiencing happiness, he's thinking, I am using up the results of all my good activities. So he doesn't become elated in the happy state because he's realizing that I'm using them up. At a certain point, I'll be done. So why get so happy? We can enjoy, but at the same time, we don't become elated. Right? And then when the devotee is suffering, he's thinking, I'm burning up the result of my past activities. And that way, the devotee always remains equiposed in all situations. Actually, mental equilibrium. Krishna has 64 qualities, and one of his qualities is he possesses mental equilibrium. So as devotees of Krishna, we can also aspire to, by being in contact with Krishna, to his holy name, develop these qualities and equilibrium. Another wonderful quality of Krishna's, which is also reflected in Lord Ram, is his quality of forgiveness. So when Hanuman said to Sita, can I please punish these Rakshashis? Sita said, let me tell you a story. One time there was a bear in a tree. And in the jungle beneath this large tree, there was a tiger. He was chasing a hunter. And the hunter was trying to escape for his life. So he climbed up the tree. And then the tiger said to the bear, Brother Bear, will you please push this hunter out of the tree? He is our common enemy. He tries to kill you. He tries to kill me. So if you push him out of the tree, I will eat the bear. My hunger will be satisfied, and I won't touch you at all. You can go home. You can go wherever you want. So the bear, I'm sorry, so the hunter. So the tiger's telling this. The tiger is telling this to the hunter. Okay, if you push the bear out, then I will eat the bear, and my dear hunter, you can go home and have a nice sleep. Okay. So the bear was not willing to push out the hunter. He said, "Why should I push out the hunter? The hunter has taken shelter of my tree. This tree is my home." So then the tiger said to the hunter, "Hey, look, hunter, you push this bear out, and then I will eat the bear, and I'll let you go home." So the hunter was not very smart, and he was not very pious like the bear. So he pushed the bear out. And as the bear is falling down, the bear catches a limb. And then the tiger says, "Look, bear, that hunter is such a rascal. Why don't you eat him?" And then the bear said, "It is a decoration of a great soul. He does not return evil for evil, but he tolerates it." So in the same way, Sita, she was telling Hanuman, it is the nature of a great soul, so why should I ask you to take revenge? Similarly, Lord Ram, he exhibited the same attitude after killing Ravana. the demigods came forth from the sky, Brahma and Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva said to Ram, look, here's Maharaj Dasara. He's coming here to see you. And Lord Ram and Lakshman, they paid their obeisances. And then Dasara said to Ram, even though I live in the kingdom of heaven with Lord Indra, my heart has been constantly burned by the sharp words of Kaikeyi when she banished you, had me banish you into the forest. So he said, but now that I see you, now that I see you've killed Ravan and your exile is over, my heart is now at peace. I can give you any benediction you want. And what did Ram say? I want the benediction that you will forgive Kaikeyi. Forgive her for her harsh words. So these are some of the sublime lessons that we can get from the Ramayana. And as I was here, I was actually thinking of Jatayu. When I was driving on I-70, there was this huge vulture flying in the sky. And I was looking at the vulture, and I was thinking, he's looking down at the traffic, waiting for something to eat, right? As vultures do. I was thinking, the vulture, he sees the world from his own perspective. And all the people in these trucks going back and forth, east and west, they're seeing the world from their own perspective. Right? Everyone in this room right now is seeing the world from their own perspective, from your own location in three-dimensional time and in space. Right? You're seeing the world from your own perspective, but not just us. Everyone in the city of Columbus is seeing different things according to their own perspective. But yet there's one person who's seeing everything simultaneously at once from all the different perspectives. And that's Krishna. Krishna is in the heart of every living being. This is, just imagine how great, how amazing is Krishna that he's able to do this at every moment. And then I started reflecting on this pastime of the Ramayana, where the monkey soldiers, one story is that they wrote the name of Ram on the rocks, and the rocks exploded. How easy it is for us to be like a rock in the ocean and sink into depression. Right? It is so easy because the material world is such a discouraging place. Right? And every moment, there's an excuse to become disturbed and depressed. Right? But the name of the Lord is so powerful that if we etch the name of the Lord on our hearts is able to float above all this maya, all this depression, all this anxiety. No. And what's even more amazing is that Krishna, he is expanding at every moment. Right? He's infinite, and he's expanding his awareness of himself at every moment. So Srila Prabhupada explains that just as Krishna is expanding, his awareness has to catch up to his expansion of his infinite energies. And then once his awareness is caught up, then he expands more. So there's this constant competition between awareness and expansion, and the awareness catching up to his expansion. So just think, just a few minutes ago, we were chanting, Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram. Now, Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram. Is that the same Sita Ram as we chanted before? When we go Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that the same chanting of Hare Krishna as we did earlier during Kirtan? Is it? Is it really? Yes, it's expanded. So even though we just chanted Hare Krishna, if we chant Hare Krishna again, Krishna's already increased. And his infinite pleasure potency that he's enjoying is increasing. So Krishna's, not only is Krishna, see Krishna is, he's Sat Chit Ananda, just like we are. He's Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, full of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. And his eternity, I mean, you really can't say his eternity is increasing, because can you say infinity is increasing? Does infinity increase?
Anyway, he's already gone.
Maybe from a deep scientific mathematical perspective, that point may be argued. But we do know that he is full of knowledge and bliss. So Krishna's knowledge is always increasing, as we mentioned earlier. Also, his bliss is always increasing. So we chanted Hare Krishna just a few moments ago, and we hear Krishna's name again, Hare Krishna. That means his Ananda, since the time we last chanted, has increased. And this is the Ananda that Hanuman is experiencing. When Hanuman, he's experiencing the bliss of bringing Sita to Rome. And we also can experience that same bliss when we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That we're assisting in this divine dance, this divine rasa of bringing Radha and Krishna together. Prabhupada explains that when we chant Hare Krishna, Radha and Krishna are dancing on our tongues. Right? But what's the problem? Why don't I experience that? When I chant Hare Krishna, why don't I experience that ever-increasing bliss that Krishna and Radharani are experiencing? It's because of what we're mentioned in this verse this day. And Bhagavad Gita, a purpose. It is lust. Our desire to control, our desire to enjoy. And we're thinking that there's a pleasure outside Krishna. But Krishna is everything. So this by cultivating these qualities of patience, of forgiveness, these qualities are conducive for us to making the mind peaceful, so we can taste and relish the sweetness of Krishna's holy name. I was just thinking, I've been reading this book called Chasing Rhinos. I'm sure many are familiar with, and just getting a taste of how forgiving was Srila Prabhupada when he first came to America. And he's always forgiven, but just he exhibited this amazing tolerance. I was just reading this one section of the first fire sacrifice in San Francisco, when they just installed Krishna on the altar, right? And so all the devotees are gathered around this Agni Hotra, this fire pit, and the devotees are performing this. Srila Prabhupada instructing them how to perform a fire sacrifice, and they all have the grains. And he says, indicating that you put the grains in the fire. But what do? The devotees throw all the grains on Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada didn't say anything. He didn't like how it is when you cross your eyebrows, like you're disturbed. He didn't exhibit that. And then after the end of the ceremony, Srila Prabhupada told the devotees, please offer the bananas in the fire. And the devotees, they peeled the bananas and they started eating them. Srila said, no. Prabhupada said, no, you put them in the fire. But very calmly, It wasn't like he was disturbed or an anxiety. And then, in the very end, Srila Prabhupada says a word that no one had ever heard before. Bodhan. Does anyone know what Bodhan is? So Bodhan, the devotees heard Bodhan. So no one can understand what is Bodhan. So this one devotee thought he figured it out. I know. Swamiji wants us to blow the smoke in his face. So the devotees get down and they start blowing all the smoke in Srila Prabhupada's face, and explains that Shama Singh explains in his beautiful memoir how Srila Prabhupada had these, the whole time he had this very calm, serene face. when the devotee started blowing smoke in his face, Srila Prabhupada's eyes became like saucers. He was looking, wow, this is amazing. So this is the nature. So we learn from Srila Prabhupada, just like how Srila Prabhupada tolerated so much in the beginning from the devotees. We can learn by his example how to tolerate the shortcomings in each other, how to be forgiving. Because actually, on the way here, I was asked to share with you what keeps me going. After all these years, it's not a lot of years, only like 70, 80, 90 years, like a flash in eternity. Right? But so I started reflecting on that. I was thinking, it must be by the prayers of others. Someone must be praying for me. And no doubt, of course, Srila Prabhupada's praying for all of us. But if we meditate on that, whenever we meet someone, whenever we see someone, that devotee is a person who can potentially be someone who will pray for us. By the prayers of a Vaishnava, we can continue our journey in Krishna consciousness. And if we offend a Vaishnava, then we lose that opportunity to have a prayer warrior, on our side, someone who can support us and pray for us on our spiritual path. So we know that not only do we need the prayers, we also need, of course, association. And then the third thing I was reflecting on is prayers, and association. Something Varshana Maharaj said recently in a lecture when he was giving initiation recently. He said that every one of us want to feel love. And we all want to love Krishna. We all want to love. We also need a service through which we can express our love. So all of us have an inclination. All of us have it. Krishna makes every single one of us. It's not like Krishna loves this prabhu more than this prabhu. Right? Right? Krishna loves every one of us equally. Right? He cares about every one of us equally. Every one of us is special in the eyes of Krishna. So, but in the beginning, we're so hesitant because of our conditioning to surrender to Krishna. Like in the 18th chapter, everyone knows this verse, right? Sarvadharmam pradityaja mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishami manasuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he expands upon that and he says, do not fear, do not hesitate, and do not worry. So we're in this, we're still being controlled by our misconceptions. But the good news is that by persevering in the process of Krishna consciousness, by continuing to solicit the prayers of the devotees, and the devotees will gladly give their prayers. And that's why service to devotees, service to Vaishnavas, is so helpful in nurturing our Bhakti Lata Bij, our devotional creeper. Because by serving them, then they become happy with us. Then certainly they will bless us with their prayers to continue on our journey in Krishna consciousness. So these are just a few thoughts I'd like to share with all of you. I'm hoping that something will be of value. And I'm hoping that you will share with me your journey in Krishna consciousness. I'm glad to be part of this. I feel I'm part of the family again, the Columbus family. And because that's another thing, we need a family. To persevere in Krishna consciousness, we need a spiritual family. We need spiritual friends. Everyone wants to have friends. So why not choose friends who are also trying to become Krishna conscious? This would be a great blessing for our spiritual life, our spiritual growth. So, would anyone like to share some thoughts, some reflections, some realizations, something beautiful they've read about Lord Ramachandra, some quality of Sita's, some quality of a devotee that they know, uh, whatever's passing through your mind. And I know all of you have deep realizations. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thing to share, but I do have, it's a share. But now that you have reminded us that we're a part of your family, we would like you to reunite with us more often here in Columbus.
Thank you very much. That is a blessing. And just like a family, sometimes there's ups, sometimes there's downs. You know. But through thick and thin, a family sticks together. Um, even if we make mistakes, Srila Prabhupada said, we try not to reject, we try to reform. And oftentimes, when we reject, there's an interesting phenomenon a Stanford psychologist shared with a devotee. It's called the fundamental attribution error. You may have heard of this. Where if I make a mistake, you know, it's due to circumstances. But if you make a mistake, it's due to bad character. Right? Isn't that what happens? I think in all human beings, if I make a mistake, it's because of I didn't have enough information. Right? If you make a mistake, it's because you're stupid. Right? I mean, that's the materialistic psychology that we become when we become covered, when we forget that everyone is a divine spark of Krishna, and we're all sparks of Krishna's splendor. Can you imagine if every morning we woke up to, "Good morning, spark of Krishna's splendor"? Like seeing everyone like that. It doesn't matter how old you are, or how young or old in the physical form. Everyone is an amazing part of Krishna. So, um, yes. So thank you for inviting me. I was here back in 19. I have many fond memories of the Columbus Temple. Many great things happened here. Um, when I was here, it was over 13th Avenue, and one of my fondest memories was I had the opportunity to take Rana Swami uh, to college programs here in Columbus, and we met many wonderful professors. Uh, and Maharaj touched many people's hearts. Um, and I remember we used to have wonderful kirtans up and down High Street. Such a wonderful place to do kirtan. Um, yes, wonderful memories. So thank you all again for answering.
You asked for
Yes.
memories of Ram or reminiscences
Yes.
about Ram.
Yes.
So when Ram's army had assembled and there was going to be a war, then someone came from Ravana's side, and this person was caught. He was thought to be a spy, and then Lord Ram, everybody wanted to execute him or make an example of him, but it was Vibhishan, the brother of Ravana, and they thought, speaking of bad character, they thought, the apples don't fall far from the tree, right? This must be a bad apple. But Lord Ram said that if anyone says, even once, I surrender unto you, then I will always protect him, and he will always be free from fear.
Yes. And then he said, even if Ravana himself comes to take shelter him, I will forgive him and uplift him. To see the depth of the Lord's forgiveness. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Are
Yeah.
we?
The realization of Rama. Like Sita came back from like Ravana's forest, and Vibhishan brought her back. Then Rama was not looking at her because she stayed for 11 months with another man, and Sita said, "Why are you not looking at me? Did I do anything bad to you? If I displeased you for a moment, I would enter the fire." And then Sita was gonna like enter the fire, and Rama like motioned to Lakshman make the fire. So Lakshman was like so brokenhearted, but still he was like collecting wood and making the fire. And then Sita circumambulated Ram, and then circumambulated the fire, and then entered the fire. But Ram could just like take like Sita home. He didn't have to like do all this stuff. Yeah, but because the citizens of Ayodhya will get angry. That's why he did all that. Even he didn't have to do it. He was the supreme personality of Godhead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jai Rama Kanjaki.